Donald Trump roasted President Joe Biden at a rally, stitched together about 2.5 minutes of glorious gaffes of the president, and played them in front of an entire rally of people. Here is what that sounded like.
So we had just a little quick video made up. Would you like to see it?
Yes, we would.
How would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't. Look.
Let's get ready to bumble!
I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. True international suffered the pressure. God, I can't believe I said that. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Y'all ready for this?
I was And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. Wait. All men and women created by the go. You know the thing. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We went for two reasons. One, to.
Come on, Joe. Come on.
Come on, man. The guy who runs that outfit over there. I've had a couple Washington. But the nature, not Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I think
Jackie.
She was
Jackie.
Here.
Remember that one?
Y'all ready for this?
What am I doing here? Tucker. Yeah. I got hairy legs that turn, that. Thank you for tolerance, for listening to me. I appreciate it very much. What?
I'm pretty sure they played the Windows XP restart sound, that sound when he had that little flub. And there was a bunch they didn't capture in that one. I mean, the 2-word clip didn't get in there. The American economy is about 2 words. Made in America. Remember that last week? Didn't even have that. Those were some of the highlights, but we're still missing a lot of material. Pretty big crowd over there for Donald Trump, all responding to the gaffes of our current president, which never seem to end. Crowd chanting in the background, Joe's got to go. And of course, there's really nobody else out there who's still getting crowds like that, who's still getting energy like that. Donald Trump roasting the president, rightfully so, because he can't talk. He doesn't know where he is most of the time. And that's a pretty important thing to know when you happen to be president of the United States. Trump's lawyer, Christina Bobb, apparently interviewed by the FEDS. This story came out from NBC, and they're telling us that Christina Bobb was speaking to investigators who were involved in the Mar-a-Lago case. And you recall here that some time ago, Miss Bobb, Trump's lawyer, was the person who signed on to the custodian of records document. Remember when NARA, the National Archives, and the FBI went over to Mar-a-Lago? They wanted boxes of materials. They said, hey, give us all your stuff or else. And they said, okay, we've given you everything. Leave us alone. And they said, well, we're not sure that you did, in fact, give us everything. And so why don't you sign this document that says you did? And Christina Bobb apparently was the person who signed that document. Now, the FBI, the feds, they want to meet with her. They want to ask her a very obvious question. Why did you sign this document saying you gave us everything when, in fact, you didn't give us everything? What gives? So apparently she sat down with the investigators. Christina Bobb is the attorney who signed the letter certifying that all records that Trump had been given back, has spoken to federal investigators. That happened on Friday. And 2 other Trump attorneys who were involved in the case also were having conversations. 3 sources familiar with the matter reporting this all back over to NBC. The certification statement was signed back on June by Christina Bobb. It indicated that Trump was in compliance with the grand jury subpoena, no longer had possession of the documents. This is according to 3 sources who do not want to comment publicly because of the sensitive nature of the sprawling federal investigation. Okay, but we want to know who said it. Their accounts correspond with federal court records, though the Justice Department did not name her as the attorney who signed the statement. And we actually looked at that document, the custodian of records document, and it didn't have her name on it, or if it was redacted. They didn't identify any of the others involved in the filings, but we were speculating. I was thinking it was either Lindsay Halligan, who I think I've said before on the show, or it was Christina Bobb. Turns out it's Christina Bobb. After Justice Department officials were given the statement, the FBI subsequently determined the substance of the certification was untrue. And that's why they raided the president's house. They executed a search warrant. They seized 103 more classified records, according to court documents. Bobb was the custodian of the records at the time, did not draft the statement. Okay, so this is something I've been really sort of waiting to hear about, because this is an important document. This is the document that Trump says clears him. It says that somebody did a search of all the materials. They found that we've given you everything. We have exhausted all of our closets and found all of the classified documents. You've gotten them all back. So how do you sort of connect this to Trump, right? If Trump was really intentionally criminal here, he should have had a guilty mind, a mens rea, a mindset of wanting to commit a crime. But if he was relying on his lawyers and his custodian of records, and he said the movers got it from the people who certified this, that, and the other, how can Trump be guilty for something if he was relying on a bunch of other people to do those things? And these are licensed lawyers. You know, these aren't people who are unqualified. These are people who are more qualified than Trump in many cases to sort of deal with other lawyers, right? And so Trump says, I gave it to my lawyers. They handled it. And what if they didn't handle it appropriately? Why is Trump at fault for that? Would be a defense argument. So here, people don't want to comment on this stuff. Instead, Trump's lawyer at the time, Evan Corcoran, drafted the release. So one lawyer drafted the document and says, hey, Christina, sign this. Bobb told investigators, according to sources, which is crazy. So I don't know who these sources are, but this means that Christina Bobb is going and talking to, I don't know, FBI or prosecutors, and then the FBI or the prosecutors are leaking this stuff back over to the media. Again, more and more leaks. Like, how many leaks can we get out of this case? So they start leaking it. They know everything about it. Evan Corcoran, one lawyer, says, I'm not signing this, right? One of Trump's lawyers doesn't want to sign it, gives it to another lawyer. Bobb also spoke to investigators about Trump's legal advisor, Boris Epshteyn, who she said did not help draft the statement, but was minimally involved in discussions about the records. Epstein's cell phone was seized last month by the FBI, according to the New York Times, citing sources familiar with the matter. Bobb did not return messages. Corcoran didn't return messages. Justice Department did not comment. You already got your sources from the Justice Department, certainly. Now, before Christina Bobb signed the document, she insisted that it be rewritten with a disclaimer that she was certifying Trump had no more records based upon the information that was provided to me. So, very good lawyer. She says, I'll only sign that if you add this sentence in. Quote, based upon the information that's been provided to me. Because she doesn't want to go around and look through all those boxes and say, I personally did all of this stuff, and therefore it's above board. She says, no, I talked to this person, this person, this person. They said there's no more classified documents in Melania's anywhere. And that's all I know. And so that's good. So she's trying to not be responsible for it. The sources said of what she told the investigators that she said, I'm not going to sign it if it was not including that sentence. Bobb identified the person who gave her the information as Corcoran, the sources said. Quote, she had to insist on that disclaimer twice before she signed it, said one source who spoke with Bobb about what she told the investigators. Okay, so maybe it's one of Bobb's friends, not one of the DOJ people. The source said she spoke freely without an immunity deal. So she went and was voluntarily talking with the feds. One source said she is not criminally liable. She's not going to be charged. She's not pointing fingers. She's simply a witness for the truth. And so, that begs the question, are they trying to prosecute him on this thing? I have to still think they are. Now, the certification said that, quote, a diligent search was conducted for records that were requested by the grand jury subpoena, and they were turned over. In August 31st, which included a copy of the certification, the Justice Department called that veracity, that statement, into question. They said, we don't trust that this was done. We don't believe that there was, in fact, a diligent search of the property. They say that president's lawyers and other representatives had weeks to perform calls, and they didn't. And this calls into serious doubt what they actually did. Christina Bobb had a lawyer. His name was John. Said that Bobb gave her testimony on Friday. The information she gave, they say, could play a crucial role in widening the investigation into Trump. And they talk about the different rallies that Trump was attending to. The day after Bobb spoke to investigators, the New York Times reported how Trump resisted the federal government's longstanding requests. And Christopher Kesey, Trump's lawyers, could not be reached for comment. The source said, people made Bobb the fall guy or the fall gal for what it's worth, and it's wrong. Yeah, she signed the declaration. No one disputes that. But what she signed is technically accurate. The people who told her to sign it, should know better. All right, so we're going to get some finger pointing here happening. So I'm sort of waiting for this to happen, right? Christina Bobb is going to say, I signed what you told me to sign. You said it was good. But her signature is on the document. And that's why the FBI came to her. You said that it was clear and it's not. So what gives? So now I don't know if she's pointing to Evan Corcoran or what Evan Corcoran's going to have to do. And I think he already met with them maybe, or maybe he met with the J6 committee. There's so many investigations going on. It's hard to keep track. But Christina Bobb apparently interviewed with the feds, met with them voluntarily, doesn't suspect she's under criminal investigation, and says she's totally innocent. All she did was sign the custodian of records document. It was other people who had to verify that it was true or not. So, of course, we'll continue to cover that. Donald Trump at a rally communicating about his displeasure, the Biden DOJ making arrests of pro-life activists, and they're using different federal laws to charge them with crimes. Donald Trump speaking out about these pro-lifers who've had their homes raided by armed FBI agents.
Before our very eyes, Biden and his left-wing handlers are turning America into a police state. After ignoring violent attacks on pro-life clinics, the Biden administration is rounding up pro-life activists. You see it happening, and you see it happening nightly, although for the most part, they don't want to report it. First, they arrested the Catholic father of 7 that you read about 2 weeks ago.
Mark
and then
Hawk, we talked about him.
They arrested pro-life grandparents with guns drawn, many people going into this small but well-kept and beautiful little house. Many people, FBI, going in to take a grandmother out of that house, putting them in jail and protesting outside of abortion clinics and charging them with crimes punishable by up to 11 years in prison. 11 years. Blake, you're going to have to do something about this, Blake. We got to do something about this. Kelly isn't doing a thing about it.
Mark Kelly's not doing anything. Blake Masters, as Trump says, he's the man that we need to take charge over here in Arizona.
Kelly doesn't even know what's happening. And they're doing this to peaceful patriots at numbers that have never been seen before. And they have the right of free speech. And this is free and really, you'd almost say it's free and silent speech. They're not doing anything wrong. These are incredible people, and they're being treated like terrorists. They're being treated like drug lords. In fact, I must say, drug lords are treated much better. Nothing happens to them.
Well, there are certainly a lot of individuals who have been committing crimes against pro-life centers that haven't come under the same scrutiny as the federal DOJ has brought upon pro-lifers all across America. Donald Trump speaking out about it, telling Blake Masters that, hey, it's up to him, and Arizona elect Blake Masters into the Senate, kick out that space cadet, Mark Kelly, so that we can get the Republicans back in charge over there. And so that, my friends, is the update. Donald Trump roasting Joe Biden at a rally. and we'll continue to cover. Thank you for liking this video and subscribing wherever it is you're watching this.